Hi. I just wanted to talk a little bit today about loneliness and the different kinds of loneliness out there. And I'm pretty sure that these are very common. It's not just me who experiences this. There can be loneliness in a relationship where you can feel at odds with your partner. You may have kind of come to feel lonely in their company, well, that could be for loads of reasons. Maybe it's a lack of love or lack of attention, or a lack of care. Maybe they're very distant. It's really hard to say. In marriages, there can be loneliness where one partner especially devotes his or her life to something outside of the relationship, and there's a real lack of care there for the other person. It could be like a sexless marriage as well, and without that kind of intimacy or closeness, feelings of loneliness can come up there as well. There can be also loneliness in terms of friends. You could be in a big group of friends but still feel isolated, or on the periphery or on the edge. I've gone through personally many lonely times, and these are times where I've not necessarily had no friends or no one to talk to, because I've always been that kind of person who's had a very small group of friends. Could only be one or two friends that I've had, and that's all that I need. To be honest, I'm perfectly okay with not having a lot of friends at all. I don't think you need a lot of friends, but that's just my opinion. I sometimes feel like in certain situations or environments in life that loneliness kind of rears its head a bit, and I'm a certain kind of person, fairly easy to get on with on a social level. I don't really require too much from other people. I'm not one to make a big song and dance if someone betrays my trust or whatever. I just won't fucking hang out with that person again. That person will just never see me again. I don't make a big song and dance about it. Lots of statuses on Facebook of people being can't trust anyone around here. Fuck that shit. Ignore that and just don't hang out with the people that you don't trust. It's as simple as. But I'm kind of a certain type of person where I'll chat to anyone on a surface level. I'll chat to anyone on a surface level. But it takes a certain kind of person to kind of keep me interested. If I'm talking to someone and they're talking about shallow bullshit, like cars, sports, farming, business, economics, commerce, politics, to me that's boring shit. I'm just gonna tune out. I'm not bothered waffling my way through any of those topics that I have no interest in. I'm gonna tune them out. Sounds kind of mean, but I don't want to waste my time talking bullshit with somebody that I don't know. I'd rather have a genuinely meaningful conversation about life, or about the universe, or about, philosophy or psychology, any of these type of things. I'd much rather that. And I'm slightly neurotic as well, as in OCD, anxious, bit depressed, really like on edge a lot of the time, like panicky. And it takes a certain type of person to, because I have had experiences with so many different kinds of people, and I've met so many different kinds of people. It takes somebody really fucking interesting to keep my attention. I'm not a person who's 18 and who's just after coming from their family home, where they had their family and their small group of friends in a small area. Not like that. I came from a big city, moved around a lot. At one stage, stayed in like various like hostels, homeless shelters. I've met a lot of fucked up, but then again, interesting people. And the chats that I've had with certain people that went on for like hours and hours about like philosophy, or love, or like art. That shit's really interesting to me now. That's sexy to talk about. So if it's just another person, I'm not really bothered talking to them like about like mundane shit, because I've been there and done that, and they'll sense that I'm bored. Look at me, I'm even getting bored of me talking about this. Now, as a result of these things, which is fine, this can come up, like, it can bring up feelings of, like, kind of loneliness, or, like, slight isolation, where you don't really feel, like, connected to the people around you. I think Dublin's a great space because there's a lot to do. There's also a lot of different kinds of people that you could be connected to. I find down the country there's very few people that can hold my attention in an interesting way. I just can't afford to live in Dublin, sadly. Not right now. So I have to make do. This can bring out feelings of like isolation and loneliness, which kind of sucks. Yeah, it's not great. It's a double-edged kind of sword. If I want to be like fun party guy, drink and talk shit and try to fuck everything that moves, I'll have to like assimilate to like general society. But my dignity or my integrity won't let me do that. I can't do that. I feel like I'm being phony or fake if I do that. Yeah, it can bring up like feelings of like depression, that, you know, there's nobody kind of really there for you. There's no one who kind of, you know, has your back or whatever. You kind of have to do everything alone, which at certain points in your life is fine. It's not the biggest deal. Sometimes it's nice to kind of have someone by your side, but it's not all bad. But I find it really fucking hard to like assimilate to normal shit, because I've sort of had a topsy-turvy kind of up and down sort of life with a lot of like kind of turmoil and rough seas. Normal shit has become boring to me. Repetitiveness has become boring to me. I'm always kind of like seeking something new, or something like different, or like fun, or like exciting, like a real challenge. Away from like the mundane fucking 9 to 5, dying for Friday, wasting your fucking life, bored, you know. I'm dying to get away from that, but it's so fucking hard. Oh, down the country. Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's not as if I'm a hard person to get along with, because I really don't think I am, like, socially that hard to get along with. But I will get bored easily of, like, the same conversations or the same topics. It'll get on my wick, like, it will bug me. I won't feel, like, mentally challenged, which is kind of a pain. It's not something that I can necessarily, like, control. I don't want to have to fucking dumb myself down, and I hope I don't come across too arrogant by saying that, or snobby. Because I can really talk about the most mundane shit. But not for long before I get really bored. I think the important thing about loneliness, or feeling like you're alone, or sort of isolated in your own head, or like there's no one who kind of gets who you are, is not to dwell on it, or not to let it overcome you, because it's very easy to sink into, like, a real depression when you do feel lonely, you do feel like you're alone. I try not to let that happen, because however bad I feel now, that depression will exacerbate it, like, tenfold. Don't think about it too much. A very good piece of advice was given to me to do things that remind you of where you come from, or what your values are, or what to kind of ground you in a place where you do feel like kind of isolated or alone. That's sort of why I got these tattoos, like the cat, the Leviathan symbol, this, and then these here. They kind of ground me and remind me that I got these done in a place that I like, the place that I feel comfortable, in a place that I feel safe, and you kind of have to hold on to that. As far as being lonely in a relationship, I think the best advice I can give to someone is, unless you're really, really, really unhappy, actually focus on all the good points in the relationship, and talk about them, even to yourself. Like, talk about these good points and these positives, and try not to look to the grass is always greener on the other side. You know, that being single is necessarily better than going through, like, a rough patch in a relationship. But then again, if you are really unhappy or you're really lonely, I would suggest you, like, get the fuck out of there and, like, move on, and put different things into your life while you're single, so you'll be that much more attractive to the next person who comes along. Yeah, it kind of sucks, and I'm sure a lot of people do feel like this and don't necessarily know why they feel like it, or how to verbalize it, or any of that kind of stuff. I'm sure we all think we're fucking special, and we all think we're unique, and we all think no one understands us. You know, that's our fucking ego coming into play there. Nevertheless, even if it is, it still can be a fucking miserable existence sometimes. To be around a lot of people who you don't feel kind of aren't open-minded, are, like, kind of closed off to a lot of the world. They stay among, like, their little clique, their little group of friends, and don't experience, like, fucking crazy shit that will broaden your mind to all different sorts of people. It sucks. It's not great. But anyway, I'll survive. This is like 15 minutes long, so I'm gonna go. like and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff.